Good win for Webb Simpson last week at Olympic U.S. Open. Scott Wilson, our golf expert here on the Sports Buffet podcast, stopped by to review the tournament and more. It's Scott Wilson on the Sports Buffet podcast. The U.S. Open's come and gone. You might have missed it. Scott Wilson, Sports Buffet golf expert, did not miss it. He is here to review the action from Olympic. First question, did Webb Simpson win the U.S. Open or did Jim Furyk lose the U.S. Open?
Can I play the middle?
Sure.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I just felt like watching Jim Furyk yesterday that his strategy was to make a par on every hole. He wasn't going for birdies, and that ended up backfiring because Simpson was going for birdies and making them. And Furyk, eventually kind of melted there in the last three holes. But, Simpson did enough to win, definitely. But Furyk didn't do anything to win.
Who was your favorite going into Sunday?
I thought McDowell. I said actually pretty early on Saturday, I said I like Graham's chances, but I could tell after the first 6 or 7 holes that he wasn't going to win. He almost had it. I actually had a feeling, I thought he might make that putt on the last hole, even though it was a long putt.
Did you have any other dark horses if somebody was going to come from the back, or I'm assuming Webb Simpson, probably not your guy?
No, if you watched, Simpson didn't even really get much coverage on the weekend at all until he was like 2 shots behind halfway through Sunday. So it's not like you weren't dismissing him. You just forgot that he was there, basically. I knew Bo Hostler wasn't going to be the guy, the 17-year-old amateur, but...
Good to see the amateur doing well in the U.S. Open, though. Also, how about the guy that was the member of Olympic, played on the senior tour? I take it he must have dropped off on Saturday, or was it Friday?
Oh, Allen?
Yeah.
Yeah. He ended up like plus 14 or so.
Good story, though.
You had a few people that I wasn't familiar with. That guy John Peterson from LSU that had a hole-in-one on Saturday and had a great reaction, and Michael Thompson, who was the first-round leader. He almost won, and he's certainly a nobody. They said that Peterson was ranked like 840th in the world, and no one outside of the top 100 has ever won the U.S. Open.
Is Webb Simpson a nobody, though, for people who don't follow golf?
For people who don't follow golf, probably, but...
well, I meant more to the... is he a nobody? Obviously the people that don't follow golf don't know him, but is he known in the circles pretty much as a decent, good player, or just a guy who got lucky for 4 rounds?
Yeah, I think he's a decent player. He probably should have won the FedEx Cup last year, but Haas ended up beating him. But he was the best player in the second half of the year, almost won Player of the Year. And I think he'll be around to stay.
Surprised with Tiger's effort on Saturday?
Yeah, I think I was more surprised by how he started on Sunday, too. Plus 6 after the first 6 holes, that's not Tiger at all.
So everybody that sounded the trumpets of Tiger being back put the trumpets away?
Yeah, for now. Till he does it in a major, I was surprised at how much he just kind of slowly faded into the background. That's not Tiger I know.
You know the game better than I. Is it, based on what you can tell off TV, is it mechanical or is it still between the ears?
I'm sure there's a little bit of mechanics, but main mechanical issues with Tiger have been his driving, and he wasn't even hitting driver. The thing I noticed the most is that he was coming up so short on a lot of his iron shots, which is not like him, and that's not a mental thing. That's physical.
Any other thoughts from the tournament?
I thought it was a good tournament. I went to the U.S. Open last year, Congressional, and being there and getting caught up in it, I didn't really realize it at the time. But watching yesterday, I was thinking, okay, this is how a U.S. Open really is. Last year was an aberration with all the low scores. This is how it's meant to be.
Anybody that can maybe carry U.S. Open momentum across the pond to the bridge? I know there's still quite a bit of golf between now and then, but anybody that you think has played well and can maybe carry some momentum into another major?
Yeah, I like a guy like Duffner. I think he played pretty well. I think he finished maybe 3 or 4 shots behind. But he's been playing so well the last few months. And a lot of these guys only play one tournament between the U.S. Open and the British, so it's not like it's a whole lot of time to lose that momentum. But I like Duffner.
And Sergio, it seemed like, had his name higher on the leaderboard than I thought. It wasn't on the first page or anything, but for a guy who said, I have no game to play the majors, I thought Sergio... I remember talking to Kyle on, I think it was Friday, and he was at plus 4 or 5, and I was shocked.
Yeah, I don't see Sergio doing a lot.
I agree. I was just trying to give Sergio a little...
Maybe Ernie Els. Ernie Els had a good week. We'll give him some props for that.
Ernie did have a good week. Quick questions, but you can give as long or short of responses as you want. Best American not to win a major still at this point?
I would say it's probably Steve Stricker. He's won a lot of tournaments, and he hasn't really been that close. I mean, he was in his first go-around when BJ Singh won the PGA, but not since then.
Best foreign-born player not to win a major?
It's probably Westwood. And he, I thought, had a decent shot on Sunday. But
did the tree, was that the beginning of the end?
Yeah, I think so. And it's funny because once that happened, it was like you never saw him again. They never showed him again.
And Dan Hicks and Johnny Miller Dan Hicks more so, was just pumping that Lee Jansen did the same thing. They're both named Lee, from the when Jansen won an Olympic, it was getting sickening.
Yeah, it's funny because you feel like you could tell the moment when somebody said in his ear, they were both named Lee. And so it sounded like he got so excited when he realized that fact.
Best guy, best American or foreign player yet to win his second major.
Ooh, that's a good one. Second major.
I try, every now and again I get a good question. I'll bloviate for a moment if you need time to think about it.
You what?
I'll bloviate. I'll stall. I'll give you a little time.
Let me think. Well, I like a guy like Zach Johnson. I think he's kind of built for majors, and I'm a little bit surprised. I think that he hasn't been around long, but I think that Oosthuizen really should have won the Masters and will win another major pretty soon.
If you had to bet, and we're a long way away from the British Open, and we'll talk more about it before it happens, American or foreign-born player to win the British?
I'll go with foreign-born player. I think they tend to play better at the British Open.
It seems like more of them play in it as well. Just it just seems like that first page you hear some Swede or Denmark guy that you've never heard of in your life to lead a round at the Open.
Right. And then there are even people that I've never heard of too. But.
And that's really bad. Scott, as always, we appreciate it, and it was a good tournament. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. We'll see you across the pond.